It's 10. Oh, 10:30? All right, everybody. We got recording going? Thank you, sir. Hello, everybody. My name is Adrian Crenshaw, and the talk you're about to see is of flags, frogs, and 4chan. OPSec versus weaponized autism. Now, first, a little bit about me. I run a website called irongeek.com. I have an interest in InfoSec education. I don't know everything. I'm just a geek with time on my hands. And I'm the co-founder of DerbyCon. All right. First of all, dubious disclaimer. This is your trigger warning. And by the way, I've triggered people by even saying trigger warning before. I'm really not kidding. It's unfortunate. Easily offended. This may not be the best talk for you. I'm not one of those that came up with the terms in this use here, but I like to use actual in culture terminology. Now, some terms are in this seen as Chan culture, and you may find them offensive. I remember there was a talk I did at another, I think it was an ISSA event also, not this one, but a different one, where the reviews came back for my talk, and it was a talk on anonymous. So I was saying all sorts of things from anonymous slang from various Chan culture, and I think what was it the reviewer said something about, well, Mr. Crenshaw's talk was real research. It was wholly inappropriate. And still, there's some useful terms to know if you want to read stuff like from Anonymous or B or the poll boards on 4chan and such. Now, abstract. This is not about real autism, but it's a term they use for obsessive focus. Like, oh, the guy who, well, you've heard of Asperger's before, right? Well, the doctor who came up with that term, Asperger, he noticed, he called his, what do they call them, little professors. The kids he was researching, he called them little professors because they had this like obsessive concentration on one particular subject. Like, let's say dinosaurs. Like, he knew every single dinosaur. They knew all the parts of them. They knew what particular time period they came from. They know which particular clade they might be worth inside of zoology. They have all this obsessive focus on this one particular topic. And, well, some parts of 4chan are kind of like that. This is intended to show case examples of where people have been doxxed, messed with, or affected by loosely organized groups online. And it's not intended to condemn or promote any of these people, but just to help folks understand cyber lynch mobs and the possible security ramifications. Okay, more things about confusion over anonymous. News reporters have written a lot about this group referred to as anonymous or poll recently, and a lot of times they get things slightly wrong. The thing is, it's more of a meme than a group as far as anonymous is concerned. Poll, you can say it's a rough group, but what the people actually truly believe and how much of people are trolling on it is hard to say. It's not like they have really official leaders or press releases. Anybody can claim to, like, say, part of Anonymous. They could, if you want to be anonymous, just say you're part of Anonymous. People talk about parts of Anonymous being kind of anarcho-communist-like. But other people that were anonymous, like in the late 2000s, doing stuff like that, were probably people who would be considered alt-right also. You can't say there's one particular political persuasion. Generally, what Anonymous did was someone would post a comment and say, hey, I think it would be funny if we go screw up this particular person. Or it would be funny if we go screw up that particular person. And if enough people thought that it was a good idea, and it would be good for the lulz, they went ahead and did it. The thing is, anyone can be anonymous. Okay, so it's not a group, it's more of a shared label or a meme, and big league attribution problems on that front. There are a lot of subgroups, and what people decide to do is up to them. And the unifying principles, I would say, of anonymous, if there was anything, is do it for the lulz. Generally speaking, internet citizenship is bad. Don't hurt cats. And down with USI. And USI stands for unwanted self-importance. Anybody that seems haughty or full of themselves, they will likely screw with. So this often comes down to like politicians and so forth. We'll get to a few case examples here shortly. I can think of examples on like different sides of the political spectrum. There was a case of like a white supremacist that they screwed with really hard and trolled. And then there was also, of course, Shia LaBeouf, which I'll be talking about later. I mean, there's anybody who seems like haughty or full of themselves, they might want to take down. Silly, I'll explain more. All right, so what is a meme? How many people have actually an explanation of memes? This guy actually created memes. This, Richard Dawkins, if I remember correctly, is the guy's name. A meme is basically an idea that is easily transferable from one mind to another. Think catchphrases. Memes are created when a large group of users come to identify with a particular image or slogan. The continued misuse will bring about the destruction of the universe. That's not what he said, but that's what 4chan's definition of meme is, and that one works pretty well. And the thing is, people like talk about, well, this meme symbolizes this. Like, I've seen people say that Pepe is a racist hate symbol. No, there's plenty of people using it for tons of other things. It was used way before the alt-right started using it. A meme means whatever it means to that particular person. And it varies, there's so much context to actually know. Like, let's say the swastika. That's a meme of sorts. But, I mean, swastika is also used in various Eastern religions. I saw a Native American basketball team, and they all had swastikas on their jerseys. Because apparently in whatever tribe they were from, that was the symbol. But now in modern day, like Western countries, well, pretty much always means Nazi. So I'll give you examples of some memes. Over 9,000, pulling that from Dragon Ball Z. The Game, which was a game where if you ever thought about the game, you automatically lost the game. Yeah, that don't matter for further explanation. That lolcats, etc. All those kind of things are memes. Now a little lexicon. This poll, it's a politically incorrect board on 4chan. Now, sure, there's a lot of real races out there, but most of them I'm pretty sure are edgelords. An edgelord is essentially, I think I have an explanation of that in a bit, but I'll go ahead and define it now. It's someone who likes to push the envelope and just get people upset and riled up. And one of the quickest ways you can do that is just say a bunch of racist stuff on a forum, and it will get people riled up. And that's what some of these people do. Some of them probably are actual white supremacists and actual neo-Nazis. And there's another poll that's called, like, I think it's left poll, and that's instead of being a bunch of people LARPing as like Nazis and such, it's a bunch of people LARPing as anarcho-communists. Or actually, and some of them actually aren't LARPing. Then again, some of the people on poll probably aren't LARPing either. An edgelord, basically someone who trolls others by expressing others the edgy beliefs that they damn it, I'm stuttering that all over the place. Anyway, what I just defined earlier. B is the random board on 4chan. This is trolls trolling trolls trolling trolls. And I've heard of people who don't know Chan culture going in to try to troll 4chan. Like one time, Tumblr tried to troll 4chan. And trolling 4chan, as someone else once said, is like pissing into an ocean of piss. You really can't do it. And so a bunch of people who are like very social justice oriented started trying to troll 4chan from Tumblr. And that didn't work out well. The 4chan people came back at them and started posting all sorts of gore and nasty stuff and just generally triggered the hell out of the people on Tumblr. So 4chan is let's say B is not safe for work. Now Pepe is that frog cartoon character meme used by all sorts of people from different reasons. Like I was trying to say before, a meme means whatever it means to that particular person. Yes, there's people on the alt-right and the 1488 section of the alt-right that use Pepe and use him in a racist way, but there's other people who don't. And by the way, about 1488, remember I said earlier, I like to research weird subgroups online. This started like 10 years ago when I was like researching the fights between Anonymous and Scientology. And since then, you know, I've researched people like Antifa and let's say the Proud Boys and some people in the alt-right. The alt-right, even all the alt-right, I say 1488ers. You remember what 1488 is? 1488 is, it's kind of off topic for this, but it's like 14 words that these various white supremacists believe about preserving the future for white children. And then those 88 is HH, Heil Hitler. And so the 1488 branch of alt-right, the alt-right didn't always necessarily mean racist. It was always nationalistic. But at this point in time, since the person who founded the term alt-right is Richard Spencer, and Richard Spencer indeed is a white supremacist, pretty much if you say alt-right, it does mean white supremacist. If you said it about a year and a half ago, some people who would consider themselves alt-right didn't realize Richard Spencer was the one that coined the term and were using it. And as far as I know, he coined the term. That's every report I've seen. I've seen no one counter that. So some of the early people who might self-identify as alt-right were just internet shit posters. People who like memed and threw stuff out there. There might be people who weren't racist, but they were just nationalists. But over time, all those people have gone, oh, okay, we want to distance ourselves from, well, once Richard Spencer started doing the Roman salute in some conference, that kind of ruined it for anybody wanting to identify as alt-right. So they were like, okay, we're backing the hell away from this. Yeah, well, some people call themselves, like, or refer to them as the alt-light. Basically, go figure. Now, Kekistan, this is something, the Southern Poverty Law Center has defined them as like a racist hate group. And no, it's, yeah, if you look up Kekistan online, look up YouTube, and find a better definition of it. Basically, there was a time on poll where someone was talking about making a nation state for themselves, and they used the term Kekistan, but the original term, where I saw it used was, well, there's this guy named Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, in the UK, who he noticed on the UK census forms that an internet shitposter could possibly be considered an ethnic group. So much like they got like Jedi put on forums because everybody started claiming that Jedi was the religion, they were trying to get this. And so between this guy, Jeff Holiday, a guy who goes by the name of Wizard of Cause, and I can't remember a couple other dudes, they came up with it. But it's not a racist group because, well, one of them, Sargon of Akkad, is a partly Caribbean heritage, Caribbean black heritage, I believe it was. One of them, I think, has like Mexican heritage. One of them was Arab. One of them is Jewish. So not a very good neo-Nazi makeup there. But they love to shitpost and make memes, and basically it became one big joke about rejecting identity politics. So they would claim that, you know, we have been oppressed by the normies and the cucks, and we want to take back our land, and we want reparations and all that. So basically, it became a great big parody of identity politics. Now, weaponized autism. And like I said, don't hate on me for this. I know some people find it offensive to joke about autism anyway, but that's the terminology that these people will use on poll and such. And basically it means obsessive about certain things, like, ooh, this is an interesting topic. Let me see if I can get into this. Or this is an interesting project. Let me focus on it. And these people are, well, large groups of people with a deep interest in something can accomplish a whole lot. So we're going to get into a few of these. This is Dark News Chan, I don't know how to pronounce that, or Nephew Chan, sample of someone who got screwed up on the internet. So there was this 4chan user. He posted pictures semi-nude of his, I believe it was his aunt on an iPhone. Well, he posted this picture to 4chan, and Anonymous pulls out the EXIF GPS info from it. Now, if you're familiar with EXIF, basically, if you don't turn off certain settings on your modern smartphone, it'll put in GPS coordinates of exactly where you're at, along with information like manufacturer of the camera and things like that. So they look at it and they figure out, oh, so that's what's going on. That's where you're at. And they essentially try to blackmail the kid and send us more pictures of your aunt, or we're going to let your aunt know that you're a perv. And there's more information out there on this link, and I have the slides out there already in a previous time I did this talk. If I can try to update. So what can we learn about this? First of all, don't post nudes. Don't be a pervy nephew. Scrub your metadata, which look in your phone, see if location stuff is turned on still, and turn that off. And yeah, turn off geotagging functionality on your phone. Another example of someone who Anonymous and so forth came after was Kenny Glenn, cat abuser. Remember when I said one of the unifying things about 4chan is you don't mess with cats? For some reason, they love cats. They may hate all of humanity. They may say the most racist stuff. They may say, and they don't always mean it, but they may say the most racist stuff. They'll talk about, you know, gassing some ethnic group. They don't care, but you don't screw with cats. I mean, so there was this kitty cat, and on February 15th, 2009, Kenny posted 2 videos showing him and his brother abusing a cat named Dusty. They posted this on YouTube under the name GlennSpam1. The account on NPC Films was another website. It was a different video set that had the same videos and a zip. Sorry, account. I didn't write that at all correctly. Anyway, there was a different website where they posted the same videos. But this one included a zip from where the people were. So they try to find Glenn on social media and compare and contrast photos. So they start looking through like social media photos from people in that particular area. And so they start comparing. This is where that weaponized autism thing I mentioned comes in. This laser focus. Like all these people are searching through all these different profiles, and they're looking for images. And can we find an image that matches the particular video? So this pic on the left is of a cat abuse video. And on the right, I guess they pulled up some social media showing the rest of the room, and they started noticing different things they could compare. And they look at the face, and they're like, oh, this looks like the same guy. Because in the videos, he's like masking himself so people can't figure out who he is, but he doesn't do it particularly well. Also, you see the weird green trim and windows and such. And these guys share a love for the Confederate flag. The videos by NPC Films are the same as those on Glynspam 1. And so they start looking at these, and they got the area code. And the outcome was pizzas and taxis were ordered to their address. The pizza thing is a common thing. I don't think they got swatted directly. But, are you familiar with swatting? Where you call in the SWAT team and someone, like you fake a number and say, hey, I'm going to kill these people. No one's going to stop me. And you get them to come in and swat the person by faking a distress call. They end up being charged with animal abuse, which is good. And Dusty and some other cat was also rescued. And Kenny was party banned, as they say, which means he was arrested. So, what can we learn from this? Don't abuse the kids. Don't use real zips. Better masks. And don't do things in identifiable areas. And there's more info out there on kenny-glynn.net. And like I said, I'm not trying to help these kind of people, but I'm just saying what they could have done better that would fix it, that would have kept them from being easily caught. I'm definitely glad that they got caught. Now, this one gets a little more hilarity in it, and I need to research it more, because going through big 4chan threads to figure out who's talking to who and who's saying what and what point they got the information gets really complex. I highly recommend, there's a guy named on YouTube called Internet Historian who goes into some of these stories and basically tells you, oh, yes, that's where that particular meme came from, and this is what happened, and la-di-da, la-di-da. And I think he actually may have a video on this. Okay, April 2016, June 2016, and February 2017. I found these 3 different threads where it seems like 4chan called in an airstrike on ISIS. Okay. See, what they're doing is 4chan is finding like rebel videos out there on some site, and they're looking through the features on it. And this goes again to that laser focus I was mentioning, the weaponized autism, as they call it. So they identify landmarks and structures, because they're like, look at the video, okay, then they go look on Google Earth, okay, we think it's about in this area, all right. And they break a map of Syria, for instance, into a grid to try to figure out what this particular encampment was. And Google and Weaponized Autism for the win, they end up finding some of them. And there was at least one guy in some of these 4chan threads that goes by the name Ivento, I don't know, you can pronounce that for me, please, Ivan. So they slipped some information to this guy, Ivan, who apparently has contacts in the Russian Ministry of Defense, or who at least he can tweet at him. And shortly thereafter, after identifying and so forth, they get an airstrike called in, and I'm going to read this thing in its entirely because it's funny. TFW, the neo-Nazi section of an American-based Japanese-owned anime website has assembled an international multicultural team of bored artists that provides airstrike targeting data on Syria terrorist training centers to the Russian Ministry of Defense because they have nothing else to do on a Saturday night. We are officially entering snow crash levels of what the fuckery. Good times. Oh, they found a way. Okay, what can we learn from this? 1, don't be a terrorist. That'd be a good thing to start with. Yeah, don't do that. Don't have identifiable landmarks in the background. And a lot more info on all these different threads, which I need to go over again, because I say, originally I heard, 4chan bombed ISIS. And I thought it was just one incident. No, I found like 3 different threads of stuff where it's different times. Okay, Comrade Bike Lock. Now, this happened out in Berkeley, I want to say earlier this year. April 15, 2017, at the Patriot Rally. This happened at the Civic Center Park in Berkeley. Probably both sides, both the people protesting on either side, left, right, were probably mostly peaceful, but not everybody. I know eventually when Antifa started beating people at the Milo protest, then people like, what's his name? Kyle Chapman came out and started carrying sticks and like armor and started beating people back. And it's kind of escalating, and which unfortunately kept escalating and so forth until we get things like Charlotte. But Comrade Bike Lock appears to be an Antifa person, which is in theory short for anti-fascist. Now, the thing is, they say they're anti-fascist, but their tactics are very fascist. A lot of them are also communists, and they'll consider anybody to the right of Lenin a fascist. Like the Kyle Chapman guy I mentioned, he's also known as Base Stickman. He showed up to one of these protests from the right side of on the left-right divide. Not that left and right means a whole lot. It's kind of confusing what's considered left and right unless you're talking about post French Revolution. Other than that, but anyway, he ends up showing up some of these things, and he gets called a Nazi sometimes. But as far as I can tell, he's not. He is a Proud Boys member, but like I said, those are Western chauvinists, and he has a wife who's Asian, and he shows up at a Ben Shapiro talk here recently, and Ben Shapiro is very Jewish, and he's like singing the praises of Ben Shapiro, which I don't think a Nazi would necessarily do, but like I said, to the Antifa types, anybody slightly to the right of Lenin is a fascist. All right, there's one guy who's dressed up in the Antifa garb of like a covered mask, a hoodie, all black, or at least mostly black, comes up around and starts hitting people on the head with bike locks. Luckily, there's video of the event and 4chan notices. This is the guy that got hit upside the head of a bike lock. Now, I'm a guy who gets into lock sport, and I can tell you, this is one of the things that kind of interests me. Maybe because the plane has very little room to swing. I've gone into planes before with big old chains of locks. Because they look at me weird, but they let me on it. Because I'm like picking locks on the plane as I travel someplace, which always gets me a few weird looks. Someone once looked at me and said, "Are you a locksmith?" I said, "No, professional criminal." All right, anyway, they start looking at the pictures in the crowd. They start looking at the tack. They start looking at people in the area, and they start comparing them. And they trace down this guy, who is Eric Clayton, who, interesting enough, taught ethics at Diablo Valley College. Yet this guy's going around smacking people beside the bike locks at like a free speech rally. And they found his OkCupid and other social media. And I think it's something about what he loves is the revolution, something along that lines. Anyway, Eric Clayton ended up getting arrested. So what can we learn from this? Oh, by the way, 4chan keeps a whole Antifa database of people that they're trying to dox and get information on and then give it to the police. First thing we learned is don't hit people just because you disagree with them. That would be a good one. Wear better masks would have helped out a whole lot, because a lot of these people, I watched some of these Antifa protests and so forth, riots, assaults, and a lot of them, yeah, they're all dressed generally like in black, and they wear different color face masks, and there's all sorts of other things you can identify them with. So a lot of them aren't, being stealthy enough, I suppose, or same enough. All right, let me explain about Antifa and black bloc tactics. You ever heard of black bloc tactics? There's a reason why they do all the masks and the full faith and they're all wearing the same colors. It's more than just like a gang allegiance. The idea is the black bloc, these people go do something, but the cops won't know who to arrest because everybody looks exactly the same. Major in something else, that might be another thing besides, and more info on all of this. Now, this is the one that I think is the funniest. Because we're seeing Hollywood actors. Remember I mentioned something about unwarranted self-importance, USI. That's one of the main things 4chan will go after. We got some pretty good USI here with Shia LaBeouf. All right. So Shia LaBeouf, and I want to say, Fresh Prince. Thank you. Will Smith's Jaden Smith. Yes. All right. Shia LaBeouf and Jaden Smith, and I think maybe some other people, end up setting this like performance art project called "He Will Not Divide Us." It's in reference to Donald Trump, and they set it up at the Museum of the Moving Image in New York. And Paul finds out about it. Basically, the idea behind the art piece, if you want to call it that, was for like 4 years they would have this webcam focused on whoever came up, and people were supposed to come up to it, and the webcam says, "He will not divide us. He will not divide us. He will not divide us." Well, obviously, once Paul finds out, the intended purpose that Shia had went away pretty quick. So trolling ensues. Let's see what we got. Also, people came on and said all sorts of other crap. There was some racist comments said, true. There were people who would drink milk on cameras, and remember the whole thing I said, a symbol means whatever it means to somebody? There were people who were trying to convince the world that drinking milk was a sign of white supremacy because apparently, well, I guess white people process lactose better or something like that. I don't know. I also seen someone, I seen a guy in security, obviously from the Bay Area, go figure, I think it's Bay Area, got legitimately convinced that this sign meant white power. We've been using this sign since I don't know when, for eons. I mean, and then I post a picture of Barack Obama doing the exact same thing. Wow, I didn't know we had a white supremacist president for 8 years. The dude, I looked at the other things the dude posts. He's pretty dumb. Then again, he also had me blocked even before I found out about him. But I'm a bit of a troll online myself, I will admit. There are people coming up to the camera doing stuff like saying, he will come inside us, he will come inside us. They just didn't care. Oh, they play Chandelier, Chandelier, I can't pronounce it. Chandelier, which has become the theme song for these like trolly Kekistani people, because the name of the band who made this song was called Pepe. And Shia assaults someone on February 10th, 2017, and gets arrested. And eventually they have to move it. So they moved the art project to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Different location, what do you think happens?
Goddamn right.
So then next, they move it to an undisclosed location. And this is the most beautiful bit of weaponized autism I've ever seen. They moved to an undisclosed location, just facing the sky. How would you figure out where that flag is? Well, they know it's the time zone based on when the sun sets. That narrows down the location. Next up, they're watching flight patterns past the flag. After that, they start looking at social media, and well, he apparently is in Tennessee at one point, and this like waitress posts a picture that she got with Shia LaBeouf in Aunt B's restaurant, and of course that gives you an address in a rough city that he was in. Oh, what's Shia doing in Tennessee? We only know the flag is somewhere near there. So they do some other things. Like I think this is a term that I pulled from an internet historian. Astronomers. They start looking around like star patterns and other things to try to figure out where this flag is. Eventually, they figure out close enough. There's like, okay, one of our guys, go around, drive around your truck and start honking the horn until we hear it on the webcam. And they find the flag comes down, and they put up a manga hat. Go figure. Next, they move the flag to Liverpool, UK. And they put it on the top of a media arts center. Line me spelling. I forgot to put that in there. Anyway, guards had disabled access to the 3rd and 4th floor, so it wasn't easy to really get to the top of the building and get to that flag. So, a new plan: access the roof from a neighboring building and get across the 4-meter gap. Another idea came up though, cutting the flag down using a high-powered laser. That was floated, but never actually done. Then Operation Chandelier was the idea. Take a Bluetooth speaker in a throwable package to get the music on the stream. So you'd constantly be playing the theme song of like the Kekistani and these trolley 4chan people. All right. They also thought about doing a drone strike. But also other people thought about applying to the museum to act, and apparently some people actually did, to get to work there and try to find roof access. Then finally, 3 people scaled the building, found the flag was zip-tied in place, and they didn't bring anything to cut it because they didn't know it was zip-tied. And I guess they just weren't planning, and I don't know, just carry a pocket knife. And they were caught on a security cam. They did get away, and no one was arrested. However, shortly thereafter, the police put out, that particular museum puts out a tweet saying, on police advice, FACT has, and Shia LaBeouf, Renuku, and Turner have removed the installation. He will not divide us.us due to dangerous illegal trespassing. So they're afraid someone's going to hurt, and then that might be a liability issue. So thus ends the greatest internet-enabled capture the flag ever. No, not quite. I'll get to that in a second. There should be another part to this, because he does have it back up again. But now it's in some lonely room where you can see light coming in from the window, and it's just on the wall. And it was supposed to be an art project when people were supposed to be coming up to the camera and saying stuff. So it's kind of like the art project is, he will not divide us. Your art project got pretty much dead. So here we go. Praise Kek. Oh, Kek, by the way, Kek is like an Egyptian god of, I want to say darkness, but sometimes also people interpret it as chaos, who has both a female form and a male form. And since Kek, I'm trying to remember the game. Some of y'all are probably a bit bigger in games. I believe Kek, in like one of the languages of the Horde, means LOL. Is that correct? Okay. So obviously these people who played a lot of video games and so forth chose Kek as their deity. Actually, the Kekistani parody thing, the parody religion also sprung up. Not only is it an ethnic group, but it's a parody religion about talking about worshiping Kek. And of course, this happens in Great Britain also. And Shire 0, US 4. Technically, Shire may still have one going. I don't know if they're going to find that house where he has the flag just hung up. I don't know if they're going to go so far as to break into a house to get the flag. But it's continuing, sort of. So what can we learn from this? Public displays of virtue signaling and unwarranted self-importance will get trolled. Flight patterns and constellations are identifiable for location. 4chan has a lot of time on their hands. And there's a lot more info out there. Any questions? I need to add more to this, and I may do a part 2 of this where they do other things, because 4chan, Poll, B, other groups are doing weird stuff all the time. That's kind of interesting. But if you have any questions about any of this, let me know. Anybody? Yes? Not with them. I mean, I almost made a joke on my website for one April Fool's where I put up something about Anonymous hacked me because I published this stuff about Anonymous. But no, because my relationship with, well, we want to say, I wouldn't even call it a relationship. I'm pretty non-committal. It's not like I'm attacking them necessarily. I'm not doing anything to harm them. I'm just usually just posting, this is what this thing was about. I'm basically just cataloging the exploits. I'm not necessarily doing anything to stop them, so no. If you did, though, you might. Any other questions? Oh, okay. So apparently people found some, Dave just told me that apparently some people, when Korea posted something about the new bomb, they were able to locate where it was in Korea, North Korea, based on, I guess, things in the sky and so forth, probably very much like the flag. Within a couple hours. Cool. Anybody else? Well, if there's no other questions, I'll bid you good day, and I thank you very much for your time.